All right, welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, August 1st, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, let's get into it today. So markets here, flat to lower. We gapped down this morning. But really it was kind of, before I did that video yesterday, or I should say before the close yesterday, I was speaking right about here, and then we pumped as I was done. But end of month flow, I talked about that a little bit yesterday. I said maybe we'd get some flow into big tech this morning. It looks like it got done yesterday, obviously with that big pump. A lot of people are making a lot out of it, like, oh, they were just trying to jam in this bid to paint the tape. I don't think that was it. It's just end of month flows. And you can see this morning we gapped down on the back of higher bond yields again. But really we kind of gapped down to where we were yesterday at the close if you discount that end of month nonsense that happened, right? So markets are, if you just take that away, we're basically flat to where we were at yesterday's close. Either way, we're down just fractionally here. And we're seeing a little bit of a pullback in some, banks up to a degree. Healthcare coming back in a little bit, energy stalling out, and big tech coming in as well, although Microsoft really kind of saving the market here, and they did this tech rebalancing here, but you look at Microsoft, that nice pump earlier, that kind of break of this range here really helped out the Qs, right? And it's like this rebalancing, so much for that, right? Because that was really the only thing pumping NVIDIA as well. So NVIDIA and Microsoft kind of saving the day there for tech, but outside of that, there wasn't a ton of strength in the tech sector. Amazon was lower here, Google as well, although it did kind of come back flat. Apple pumped a little bit towards the that mid-morning session there, but it was really Microsoft and NVIDIA kind of doing the lifting there. And again, so much for the rebalancing. We do have AMD reporting after the bell. And I just want to double check. I want to make sure there's nobody else important. But I will take a look at AMD with you guys as the markets are closing here in about 3 minutes. So AMD, yeah, we already had Caterpillar this morning. I believe, yeah, Starbucks after the bell as well. So really AMD and Starbucks, the only two big ones. We'll take a look at that after the close here. But markets mostly on the flat side. Again, we talked about this earlier in the short video. Qs, they're defending that trend line again. So again, how much longer they keep this going, we'll find out soon, I think. Could you get one more push off of that? It's certainly possible, but Qs still seem to be a little bit in more of the weaker kind of mode here, at least seeing some kind of more money flow go into energy. And energy is backing off earlier, XLE, but nice inside candle there. That's not bearish whatsoever. Looks pretty good. XLF did back off, but that is now back to the flat line. So again, we're kind of seeing these, again, the old world stocks start to catch up here to tech. And I do think tech remains, I'm not going to say weak, but relatively underperforming is what I would characterize it at. And then of course, Amazon, Apple can negate anything that happens between now and Thursday by the close, depending on how they report earnings. So that's what we're going to look at here. But again, the triple Qs on the daily, it does look like it's running out of gas, right? So your trend line here, that's been tagged 1, 2, 3 times, but we violated it last week, and then we violated it again today. And, it was kind of close to breaking down. You see there's the trend line there on the Qs intraday. We did hit it. We pierced it. And then, like I said, NVIDIA and Microsoft took off around, 10:30, 11 o'clock, and that really kind of led the charge to the Qs recovering. Another thing that was interesting too is VIX has been holding up pretty well. Maybe this is just some hedging into Apple, but you got that big inside or big outside candle there, and we're just inside of that. It's actually been holding up okay, and even held up really relatively all day long. So the VIX starting to wake up a little bit. Maybe we get a little bit of volatility tomorrow. Maybe there's some news we don't know about. Maybe it's just hedging into Apple, but VIX definitely showing a little bit of relative strength here for the first time in a while. I mean, it's just been getting pounded for a long time. Maybe some smart money starting to kind of hedge as we get into August. Again, seasonally, the VIX does tend to bottom in August as the markets start to top out around that time, and we get that, kind of Q3 bearishness. NASDAQ's up over 40, I think 45%, something like that for the year. Best start to a year ever as we get into that seasonality. September, October, November, you may see volatility start to put in a little bit of a low, and we may finally get that break of this trend line here. But either way, market's hanging in there okay. They can still go higher. SPX just backing off. We'll see how that behaves tomorrow. Levels have not changed, obviously, on the upside here. 4640, we'll call it 4635, and then 4600 still. We still yet to close above 4600 on a weekly basis, or even on a daily basis as well, because it's 4588 yesterday. But Spider and SPX still hanging in there, and then there's your daily trend line there as well. There's the market closing. Outside of that, not a ton to report here. We'll take a look at AMD. We'll put our after hours on there. I do think this has max upside to around 130, 132. Maybe it can go a little bit higher, but I'm not seeing a ton past that. But again, we'll take a look on that in a little bit. Outside of that, let's look at the Russell here. So that did get hit a little bit earlier. As you can see there, IWM outside move, broke the opening range, then finished back inside of yesterday's candle. So no real problems. And that still can go up and test 200, maybe 202, 202.50. Again, your daily / weekly trend line is, kind of there loosely. You did have it kind of pierced there, but somewhere in that area, I think, is resistance on the Russell, and I do think it wants to get up there. Again, especially if you get more strength out of regionals, energy, and some of those other names there. Dow here, that was green nicely. Caterpillar up 8.5, almost 9%, so that's going to definitely do the trick right there. I believe Boeing was up. Oh, no, Boeing actually came in. Oh, so yeah, nice little tail candle there on Boeing. That was up nicely earlier. Yeah, look at that move there on Boeing. So that did come in by the bell, but Caterpillar being up obviously helped out the diamond. Still struggling with that 355 area, but you got a daily close. So we'll see where that is by the end of the week. SMH here, that was fractionally lower. Nothing crazy going on here. It did gap down, and then we kind of just rallied back up as sort of the rest of the market did. You see NVIDIA obviously leading the charge, and AMD too. I mean, AMD gapped down this morning, and I had a nice rally closing back above that psychological 117 area. But again, earnings, who knows which way it can go here. Again, we'll try and check in on that a little bit later. IGV still holding up really well, gap down, and a green close. I don't see any problems when that happens, up 18 cents. Still have weekly resistance at 367. That has not changed. Transport's also backing off for a secondary day. Look at this steep trend line here, just unbelievable. Going back to July 6th, 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. We tested it again today, and we closed back above it. So no problems there right now. I think this can still get to 17,000, honestly, unless proven otherwise. If we reverse by the end of the week and close below 16, then it's probably topped out here, and we'll have to look for downside targets. But right now, little test candle there, and it's holding up just fine. Okay, over to interest rates, because that was the big talk of the day. There's something brewing here with rates. You guys know I'm not bearish rates at all. I'm actually very bullish and continue to be that way for a while. 4.9% is the 2-year closing at today. Again, this is a strong pattern here. Up move, and you're just consolidating beneath this pivot. So this is going to break 5 soon. So that looks really good. 5-year inside bar on the daily, no problems. That looks like it wants to go and test 4.4 again in the not too distant future. 10-year holding up as well. Got a little kind of cup and handle type action there. You take out this pivot, you're going to double top. 30-year already took out this pivot. We've been waiting a long time for this. Let's use the TYX. And I want to talk about ZB too, but let's look at the TYX. We got the lines drawn in there. Look at that. Breakout and another breakout. Ascending triangle. That's going up to 4.2 to 4.25. 30-year is strong. Take a look at ZB. This is not good, right? We got the JOLTS data this morning. It came out slightly cooler than expected. Bonds got a pop. Look at that. Tag and tank right into the 20 moving average and just puking right down. That is a new 5-month low for the 30-year futures. Not a good sign. I keep hearing about the short squeeze coming in bonds. I'm waiting for it. Where is it? TLT, weak. HYG, weak. JNK, weak. ZT, weak. ZN, weak. Bonds are not in a good place right now. And 30-year threatening a breakdown here. So again, bonds in a weak spot. And I'm still remain bullish yields, and I'm going to remain that way for a long time. Okay, so let's get over here to housing XHB. up 60 basis points. That can still pierce double top around 86.60, I think it is. ITB very close to new all-time highs there. That is holding up well. It can still go higher. VNQ, micro daily bear flag here. So down move inside bar, good volume there. That could have a little zigzag down, but I want to see how it reacts at 84. And then the big test is if you get through 84, you don't want to lose 83.24 on a weekly close. But right now, this is set up here for an advance into the low 90s. That is not a terrible pattern here on the weekly, and it can still set up there. But right now, a little bit on the weaker side. XLF, we mentioned earlier, that did close down 1 cent. So a little bit of, backing off there. That still has a lot of resistance at 36 to 36.20. I do think it gets there, though. This pattern's not terrible, and I think it wants to go up there and test that area. KRE, still backing and filling. This is not terrible. This got overbought here. Needs to consolidate and let those moving averages catch up. And then that can push up to 55, believe it or not. KBE can push up to 45. But again, struggling with that 200 MA. Needs to catch up to price there on the the 20 and the 50. But no real issues right now. And that can, again, push up to $45, $46. XBD lower, but did come off the lows nicely. I still think that needs the 20 moving average to catch up as well. Even so, look at this. This is not a tech stock. It's just that the broker-dealer index, 413 to 520 in 2 months. That's this is really, look at the weekly here. This is really overbought. But again, still holding up well and can't say anything too negatively about it. Crude here, inside hammer, doji, nothing, no problems here. This will have resistance at 82.75 to 83. If we go up there without consolidating, which right now, that's essentially kind of what we're doing. So crude here, a little extended. It's up over 20% in the last month. So month over month, that's going to do a number on the CPI. But either way, you have weekly chart resistance that we're coming into. Red bar high and that little double top. Also the 100-week moving average up there as well, around 85. So if you go up there without consolidating, say tomorrow or the next day, this is probably going to get rejected pretty good. If we flag here, this can go higher. But right now, it's had a nice run. I do think it's due for some backing and filling, but I'm not bearish crude in a big picture way. Short term, we get up here, maybe it could come back in pretty sharply, but second half of the year is going to be big for energy. I like what it's doing right here, and it looks good. XLE looks good as well. Little test candle today. Moved outside of yesterday's range, closed back in, inside hammer, no problems. Would love this to flag a little bit more, maybe pull back more. But it's strong, and it looks really good here. XOP backing off that needed to. Again, look at this run here. So, June 22nd, and here we are, 120 to 142, basically. Again, these are not tech stocks. So, big move here for energy. Coming into this trend line, this probably needs to back off. You got a little bit of a pivot there as well. You've got this previous trend line. It's a lot of resistance up in this zone. But once you pull back, it's probably a pullback for buying on these names. OIH continues to be a tank. I don't even think that's going to pull back at this point. That may just go straight up into, this area here. And we're going to look on the monthly. There's your 100 moving average, 367, 370. It's probably where it wants to go. So there's your pivot highs right there, 375. OIH looks really strong. And again, that monthly pattern, up move, nice pullback. That's what you look for right there. So doesn't look like it's going to ever give me a chance to buy, but yeah, it's holding up well. Nat gas here backing off again a little bit here today. Nothing's changed on the pattern here. Big up move and just sideways consolidation. Same thing. You can see it a little bit clearer on the weekly. Up move, sideways consolidation. So that's putting in a gigantic base. But nat gas still stuck in that range for now. Dollar index. This is interesting here again. We're up to 102.25. High of the day 102.43, and that held up all day long. If we look on the intraday, even as the markets recovered, this did not back off much. So, here's your big move up. And then we just kind of stalled out here intraday. It was kind of 5 minute even, up move and then just kind of stalling and crawling. So no big rejection there on the 50. Can this happen? Can we reject tomorrow? Let's see, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 days. 9 out of 11 days we were green, and bright green too. Can we reject the 50 MA? Of course we can. But right now, it's got a nice outside bid. You got the 20-week moving average. We could also get rejected there. You guys know my weekly level, right? We get above that on a weekly close. I think the dollar is bear trapped. It trapped a lot of bears, and we could see a pretty outsized move. Until that happens, we're just going to be neutral here, and we're going to go with the weekly pattern, which is more dominant, that says we're inside bar, and that we can still go lower. But that's a nice counter trend pop for the dollar. And like I said, yields are holding up well, and yields look like they want to break out. If that happens, the dollar is probably not going lower. So my gut probably says that I think we are kind of trapping bears here, but I got to go with the pattern until proven otherwise. But DXY, nice bid there. Gold, as we get over to GC, a little outside move down. That should go down and fill the gap around 1972 using the GLD. We took out that low. There's a little gap there around 179.50. That could go down there and get tested, and then we'll kind of reevaluate it from there. Silver in a little bit of trouble here, down 2% on the day. Just hanging on to that 20 moving average right now. You don't want to see it lose that, because then, you got to get, you could hold these moving averages here, but you lose this area, it's down to 23, which there will be good support, 23, 23.50. If you lose that, it's going to 21. But outside of that, pattern's not terrible. I just don't like those big outside candles we had the last couple of days. That big one on volume, and then this big outside reversal candle today. You can still make a case that you could be flagging here. I would just prefer those candles to be a little bit less, dramatic. But, it's the futures, it's commodities. That's kind of what they do. But either way, silver holding onto that 20 MA. Platinum outside move down 2%. So rejection at 960. We mentioned that yesterday. That's where we stalled out, and we rejected it today with a lower low. So that's not insignificant to me. That means that I think we go down here and test this low. And if we take that out, we're going down to 850, 860. That's a very good area of support for platinum. I'm watching that very closely. Palladium, outside move, or I should say reversal, engulfing reversal with good volume there. I think that needs to go lower as well. You guys know I'm looking for sub 1100 on that. And then copper. Copper couldn't get above that 4 and stay above there. So I said 4 to 405. And good rejection, right? So nice little wedge, and then right back down with volume. So we'll see how this behaves. Might be a little bit of a fake out here on copper. You guys know I'm still looking for 340. So maybe I was right about that, because it looked like we were going to firm up there and push out. But those bigger time frames, I think, are kind of telling us it needs to go down a little bit more. And I'm really kind of going more off the monthly there. So there's multiple reasons, honestly, on the monthly there. But either way, nice outside reversal there, key reversal on copper, and that does not look good there. All right, Bitcoin, lastly. I do like Bitcoin here. Actually, full disclosure, I did pick up a little bit of Bitcoin today with members, but this kind of did what I thought it might do. I talked about this yesterday. I said it's probably ready for a move, and we got that today. And I can't tell you how many charts, I'd seen on Twitter and on YouTube, Bitcoin bear flag, Bitcoin bear flag, Bitcoin bear flag. And what I say to you yesterday, it's all about, like, the biggest mistake most traders make, is they lock in on the daily time frame, and they completely ignore the weekly. Why did this bounce here off of support? Weekly time frame not confirming it. Weekly bullish inside bar, and now that looks good. Like I said, full disclosure, I just picked some up because of that, so you guys know. But, 20 MA test, beautiful flag, little doji starting to form there. Again, we still got the whole rest of the week here, but, if I was a bear, I'd be sweating here, because you should have broken down there, and you went right into support. Again, right there's your support, and you tested that, and that's a test candle that passed. Now we're back inside of this range. You follow through tomorrow, get back above 30,000. You get back above 30,200, that red bar. This can squeeze. So Bitcoin looks really good here. I did pick some up again, full disclosure. I probably would have picked up. We did play Marathon and Riot a week or two ago. We made some decent money on that. But these guys got earnings here. I know some of you guys are in these as well, Coinbase, but these guys are coming up with earnings here, and I just don't like playing those. So I figured just go right with Bitcoin, but I do like this pattern. And, when I see a failed breakdown like that, I usually want to be involved in it. I don't really see it. I mean, there's always a possibility it could come down. Nothing to say it can't happen. But it looks to me like they just sucked in a bunch of shorts and pushed it back up. So we'll see if that follows through. But yeah, nice weekly pattern there building on Bitcoin, and we'll see if that can get going. All right, anyways, let's see if AMD is out. Looks like it might be here, 118, 119. All right, so getting a little bit of bid. So we did dump out a little bit down to 115 and then a pump there back to 119. Let's see where this opens tomorrow. So basically we're like right here, nothing crazy. We'll see. Maybe they pump it up, maybe a conference call, maybe they say AI enough times. I do think, although there is starting to be some AI fatigue, as I've mentioned previously, but I think max move for this is about 130 to basically double top, maybe a pierce of that, if that even happens. Again, it doesn't look like it's getting too big of a pump here after hours. Reversal and then a little bit of a bid, but we'll see. But AMD, let's just take a look at the semis real quick, SMH. Yeah, so they're like basically flat after hours. Not really doing a whole lot. NQ, down 25 basis points on the day. Nothing crazy, right? AMD is not Microsoft. It's not NVIDIA. It is a big company, but it's, nothing crazy there. Yeah, right, there's 120. So decent little bit. We'll see where it opens tomorrow. But again, obviously, it doesn't matter. AMD could go to the moon. And if Apple and Amazon don't perform, it can go the other way. Or if Apple and Amazon perform and AMD ends up crapping out, again, that gets negated. Everybody knows that's what the market is waiting on this Thursday. And then, of course, the jobs number, which will be coming out later this week. Anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. Talk to you guys all tomorrow.